Hi, this program is going to be dedicated toward our visiting and checking out all the mechanical wonders that we're going to find around the United States and Canada. Mechanical wonders from the Industrial Revolution to current day, and even farm and agricultural, and who knows whatever we're going to find. It's man-made and it's machine, whether it's a reciprocating engine of some type, ship, or who knows what we're going to discover and check out as we go along. And along the way, we're also going to feature some restorations, some how-tos, and stuff like that. I'm Mark Shulaw, and why don't you come along with us for this journey of discovery of our antiques from America and around the world. Before us, we got something that's typical that we're going to be looking at: a small internal combustion engine. This is a two-cycle engine built by Maytag. This is an example of some of the things that we may be looking at. Unfortunately, I don't have a ship engine around to show you, so those get to be rather large. But that's the kind of things we're going to be doing with this. Some of the important things that we're going to be learning during this program in the future is going to be the differences between preservation and restoration. A restoration is where we take something like this that was a rusty, maybe even a dismembered piece of equipment. We figure out how it's supposed to go back together. We figure out how to clean it up properly so that we don't hurt it, and put it back together and either paint it or preserve it in some other way to make it a working piece of equipment again. Something that we can take to shows and to display to people and have fun talking about and learning about along the way. Or in a preservation sense, where we find something that is in actually somewhat decent condition as far as original paint, original condition, original parts, something that hasn't been messed with too much. Something that displays for us all the features that the engine would have had or the piece of equipment would have had when it was new. This can be important because a lot of the companies that built this stuff are no longer around. The records that they kept, if they even kept much in the way of records, is gone nowadays. We don't have those records except for in the equipment that's left behind that they built. And that equipment can show us what they intended, as long as we don't mess with it too much. Sometimes the idea behind this preservation is going to be find a piece of equipment, we decide it's original enough to preserve the way it is. We maybe do a little bit of cleaning, we do a lot of oiling and greasing to preserve it, to slow down any further deterioration, and preserve it that way so that maybe even 20, 30 years down the road, or even in someone else's lifetime, a question will come up about how the manufacturer did something, and we can go back and look at these preserved pieces, take a look at them and study what's left, sort of like an archaeological dig, where you dig something up that's been buried in the sands and dirt of time. It's not that way it was when the owners walked away from it and it got buried and preserved that way. That's the same thing with preservation on these things. That sometimes can be just as important as written records, because a lot of times the meaning of a word changes, and if we don't understand what they meant by that word 100 or 200 years ago, then having that word doesn't mean anything if we don't understand their words. But the record of what they left behind and how we preserve it today, that's very important, and that's what we need to preserve in some cases. But in some cases, though, restoration is called for, because you get a piece that's just so mangled and rusted and corroded and broken or whatever that there's nothing left to preserve as far as original paint or pinstripes or decals or anything like that. So we clean it up, we remove all the corrosion and degradation from time, we clean it up, smooth it out, paint it, make it look like it did when it was brand new. And that can be a beautiful item all in itself. Say, like, have this engine here all restored, or another one just like it sitting there that was just the way it was when it was made brand new. What an example, what a comparison. Beautiful. Come with us, we'll discover this, and we'll have a good time doing it. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.